Hi everybody, we're back. Yeah, I know it's been like a week. Had like a strike, and I had to can't I couldn't post things for like a week because the try to do like a reaction video to a death battle video. Obi-Wan Kenobi versus like Kakashi, and I wanted react to that, but got a strike and I couldn't post anything, so I'm probably have to avoid, because I want to do more reaction videos to Death Battle, but I'm going to have to avoid anime related stuff because I don't have like the know how to like edit to the point where I can probably get away with that. Even then is murky. So uh, probably to make a mental note of that. But I'm back now. I uploaded all the videos that like I did from last Wednesday up till yesterday, including wrapping up all the God of War Ragnarok walkthrough videos. It's all posted on up on the channel, as well as a couple of Overwatch, Gotham Knights, Evo West, Call of Duty multiplayer. I got all that stuff is uploaded, so you can check all those out. So anyway, continuing on with my Christmas spoiler review videos. Uh, I got two today I want to do, and I will be doing a couple of reaction videos to some trailers that came out coincidentally, during the period while I couldn't post stuff. As well as later on this evening, I will be doing a live stream of the Game Awards show around like 6:30. So there's that. So I thought I'd clue you all in now. But anyway, continuing on with my Christmas spoiler review, I got two today. One of which is the critically acclaimed Disney's Frozen. They came out in 2013, and I did not go see it in the theaters. I think the first, no joke, I think the first time I actually watched Frozen was either in 2019 or 2018. No, 2019 or 2020. Not too long ago. It's just like a fair bit, like a couple of years, and because I don't know, because it didn't. I want to say it didn't seem like my cup of tea. It's like I don't know. It's like it's Frozen, and all I'm hearing is like how it's just the same way like the movie Split. That also did not go immediately to the theaters, as well as if you watched my review of Knives Out last month, I mentioned that uh, well, technically I saw Knives Out in the theater when it was like the last week before it will be put off the theater list, and it's like these things that like I didn't initially care to see. That when I saw it, I was like, oh okay, I can see why this was like a blockbuster hit. Frozen it became like a cultural juggernaut of a hit. When you talking about like all these like merchandising games, like kids, little kids party constantly wanted Elsa at their party. It got all these like Elsa, cosplayers. When I went to C2E2 a few months ago, I literally saw a guy in an Elsa, like a full grown man in an Elsa wardrobe. Not knocking him, I respect it because I love Elsa as a character. She's a glorified X-Men character. Let's just call a spade a spade. She's a freaking X-Men, even though you already got Iceman. But, Elsa just, it became such a beloved character. I freaking love Elsa. Love the design of this character. I love the voice actress. The singing in this is phenomenal, except the whole Olaf thing. I'll get into that character in a minute, as well as like the rock troll people. I think those two is part of like if I had a they're two of the few cons I have about this entire film. Uh, but they also got the most boring songs. But I was gonna put her out there right here, right now. That "Let It Go" song is on my playlist, of my YouTube playlist of songs that I like, jamming out to the most. And honestly, that song, yeah, because because people, before I even saw the first film, I don't even think I even saw the second film. Now I'm thinking about it. I might watch it for next year's holiday Christmas movie review. But when I did first see Frozen, because matter of fact, I think when I saw Frozen for the first time, the first one is when Disney Plus app became available and everything like that, and that's probably one of the first few things that I watched on the app. And I was like, okay, I get it. But that song "Let It Go," because I heard how catchy it is, how like it drives a lot of people crazy, how often kids play it and they constantly hearing it. It's like, because I hear my fair share of catchy songs in my day, but when I first heard it, because I was literally, it was like almost a week, because I was at work, whenever I had to go to work that week, like I'm sitting there humming to that doggone song. I could not get that song out of my head. That was in my psyche for an entire week. I could not get that thing out of my mind. And a couple of coworkers laughed because I was like, man, I cannot get that freaking Frozen song out of my freaking head. And it's like a perfect song for it when you're depressed, and it's just like a very liberating kind of song, and it is just so good. I didn't even know Kristen Bell could even sing like that, because she has a few good songs here too. But "Let It Go" is topped the charts for a long time, and I put it on my Instagram and Twitter uh, early on in my YouTube channel stages. Early on when I started my YouTube channel, youtube.com/talkative Carl. By the way, links in the description. Like and subscribe. uh I put it was a little bit after the Encanto movie came out, and I posted, like, it was right at the height of the music versus battles that it came popular during the pandemic. And it's like, what if there's like a versus battle with Elsa and all the Frozen songs, and Mirabelle and all the Encanto music? Because I think it was Mirabelle, or I could be thinking about somebody else. I could be confused, but you talking about, like, cultural touchstones and popular music that permeated like the zeitgeist. These two ladies, I would like an animated music versus battle between Mirabelle and Elsa. Anyway, and there's a certain moments in this film I thought was very satisfying to see, because it is a Disney property, and it turns the whole Disney princess motif, certain motifs, on its head. That because it's like a modern-ish original story. The especially when it comes to Disney princess aesthetics, they have to address certain things that was more, by and large, problematic in Disney's heyday with Sleeping Beauty and Rapunzel. Speaking of which, Tangled character Rapunzel has a slight little cameo in the early on when Anna's doing her little musical number outside during like the coronation period, and there's like there's a shot, you blink and miss it. You can look it up on YouTube so you can see what part I'm talking about. But it's during, if you watch Entangled, when she cut off her hair and stuff like that, she has a short hair, so you might not recognize her off the bat. But she's coming into the castle during the whole coronation thing, as Anna's like leaving out during her musical number before she meets Hans. I thought it was like a nice little funny cameo. but it's like turn those kind of moments on its head. Uh, but we'll address it when we get to it. Begin. Oh, and the movie stars Christian Bale as Anna, uh, India, Adina Menzel as Elsa, Jonathan Groff as Kristoff, Josh Gad as Olaf, uh, Santino Fontana as Hans, and Alan Tudyk as the Duke of Weselton or Weaselton, as it's funnily called. This, by the way, this movie had like a budget of $150 million, and they're raked in at the box office 1.280 billion with the B billion, and I can't imagine the what the merchandising, what they got from merchandising in of itself. I'm pretty sure that grossed it even more. But anyway, uh, uh, as children, Anna and Elsa were very close sisters. Elsa being, a couple years older than Anna. She manifested powers, and like I said, she's a mutant. I don't know how else you want to put it. She's a freaking mutant. She manifested the mutant ability of ice, and kudos to the parents, because most stories will have like one of both parents being twisted to exploit that power, or treat her like she's a freak or something like that. But no, she's very loving parents that still wanted to protect her from being feared and hated. X-Men. Uh, while Anna and Elsa were playing, Anna was about to, hurt herself, but Anna, in just kind of like a spur in the moment, kind of knee jerk reaction to try to save her sister from toppling over and hurting herself, she did like a small ice blast that caught her, across the forehead and turned her hair like a streak of white, reminiscent of freaking Rogue, technically. And it's a lot of Rogue references, mind you. It's Rogue and Iceman references here. Rogue, by which, Elsa constantly is seen for the most of the movie wearing gloves. So it's like, it's X-Men heavy. I know, X-Men isn't like the part like the first to do this, but it's kind of synonymous with Iceman being the most popular ice wielders in popular culture, and Rogue being popular with her gloves because she can't touch people without hurting them. Don't know if they kind of in current X-Men that was kind of not retcon, but she matured to the point where she can actually touch people. I gotta look that up because I'm not sure if that was she got over that hurdle. I'm not sure. I can't remember. I mean, if you know, please leave a comment. Let me know if that has been corrected or not, or that's still like a ongoing thing. Anyway, the parents took their daughters to these rock troll people, and their spiritual leader warned the parents about she can do great things with her abilities, but her greatest enemy will be fear and everything like that. And it's a very cryptic thing where you could just solve a lot of problems in this entire film by just say, the quickest way to avoid these kind of pitfalls is just show her sincere, genuine love, and that'd have been that. But anyway, they chose to keep her daughter sheltered. The troll people took Anna's memories of her sister having powers. They, the parents by and large keep the girls, for the most part, separated to avoid Elsa accidentally hurting others. And one day, because it's a Disney movie, mind you, one day the parents decide to go on this kind of like a trip. You know, don't know where it was going. It wasn't really specified, but they went on this boat ride, probably dealing with like king and queenly duties. It was a storm. It capsized. They died. Now it's just Elsa and Anna. Fast forward a few years later, Elsa became officially 21 years old and became like a rightful heir to the throne during coronation period, which Anna's excited because for such a long time they barely had kind of like interactions like that. And you can it's like they haven't missed, despite the years of standoffishness. It's like once they in the same room together finally, it's like they haven't missed that sisterlyhood. They just like they picked up where they kind of left off, and they it's like I like the charm between these two characters. It's like these are siblings that enjoy each other's company. They laugh at the same thing, and it's like some fondness for chocolate. But Elsa's still trying to mentally like keep like okay, keep it in check, keep it in check, keep it in check. And so everybody's in this ballroom, and before like the coronation began, Anna bumps into this guy from Wesselton named Hans. And of course they play to the whole Disney thing. That's where the whole flip it comes into play. I was like, oh, it's gonna be like a traditional Disney princess meets this guy, handsome prince, and they quickly fall in love, and they go this whole musical dance number thing, and he just abruptly just start proposing to Anna, and Anna, bless her heart, wears her heart on her sleeves. I can relate, and I think a lot of people can relate. Where it's like she's by and large wants to believe in the best in people, very optimistic and things like that. It's like, oh, this is gotta be true love, because she's one of those kind of girls that kind of has fairy tale mindset of what love is and how things work. And then she goes to her sister to get her blessing, and rightfully so, Elsa points out like, no, I'm not giving you my blessing. You just met this guy and you already want to get married. And she meets Kristoff later, and he also pointed out to her. It's like, wait, you accepted a marriage from a guy you just met? Like, and he asks, like, okay, if you're so in love, like, what's his last name? What's his shoe size? He asks him like these typical questions, like, you don't know this guy from Adam, and you jumping into marriage with this person. It's like I speak on this in a different like spoiler review. It was on my Father's Day movie review of Father of the Bride. You can check that out too. I did that this year, and I point out because that Steve Martin's character had a good daughter who was studying abroad in Rome, and she met this guy for 3 months. Granted, it's longer than like Anna and Anna's situation, but still, only 3 months, and you coming home and shocking everybody about a news of like a marriage and stuff like that. That's so fucking dumb. And later on in the film, you see like these two having like a big blow up over a blender, and it's like you wouldn't have this kind of issue if you actually spend at least a couple of years with each other, getting to know each other, all your bad and good qualities, your ticks, uh, and all this other stuff before you even have the discussion of marriage. My ex and I, uh, like, that's like, you know, within 6 months of me meeting her, she, by that point, knew just about everything, pretty much almost everything that, because she's very kind of studious, like, knew almost everything about me, at least 99% about me. Uh, everything like my family knew about me throughout my years of life at that time. She got it down within 6 months of knowing each other, and it wasn't until maybe like almost 3 years in when I wanted to like actually like, because we had like a talk about like marriage and everything. Like I was really into this girl. Not gonna bore you over the details, but it's like it took me at least a couple of years to even have like even notion of like, yeah, I can see myself with this person kind of thing. And it's like she know all of my issues, and this is before like I lost like some decent amount of weight and everything like that. Like she knew all my issues, my family stuff. She knew my mindset. She knew my schedule when I was supposed to be home when I was going to college at the time. She knew exactly when I was supposed to be home. Like right at the moment when I put my hand on the doorknob, here she come calling my cell phone. I was like, hey, like I knew you probably be home about now. Like, yeah, I literally was about to touch my hand on the doorknob when you calling me. It's like you knew exactly, like you timed it. It almost feel like she timed it. Like you supposed to be home around this time. And it's like, and like I know her favorite kind of candy, and it's like she knows the kind of candy I like, and it's like the things that we enjoy, the ins and out, that are quirks. Anna does not know this guy like that, and of course he turns out to be bad. I'm not even gonna bear the lead here, and and I like this whole, I like how Frozen point that out, and thankfully little girls at the time would this would be because my generation grew up with like Aladdin and the Lion King and stuff like that, and they didn't play so heavily into the old guard of Snow White and Sleeping Beauty about like, oh, you, granted it was like little I don't want to say shorts, but at least half the at least either the third or half the time of what Aladdin was. But you got like Sleeping Beauty and Snow White, meaning these princes, and even like Enchanted addresses these kind of issues too, because they kind of play to the whole, oh, it's like a prince and you get married and stuff like that. But no, there's more to love and relationships beyond the first initial meet. And that's like I like Elsa just pointed out, like, fuck no, you're not getting married. And then she and Elsa had this, blow up. Anna took one of Elsa's gloves, which, you know, you know, Anna points out, like, like, oh, you don't, like, oh, like you've been sheltered. You don't what you know about love and everything like that. And uh, uh, Elsa just points out, well, you can just leave. It's like, I'm not keeping you here. And of course, this caused an uproar. Elsa lose control of her powers and start like causing this. Ironically, I just wrapped up God of War Ragnarok, and she essentially calls Fimbulwinter in this entire place. I wouldn't be too surprised. This is like Norwegian area because it's got like a lot of like guys, ice men, to actually carve out ice and stuff like that and sell. So she causes this big, winter in the land, and it's getting progressively worse. I wouldn't say progressively worse, but it's just like it's summer, and she causing like a permanent state of winter. It wasn't until her emotions get more erratic where it gets more, the winter gets more harsher. So she runs away. Anna goes chases her down because it's like, she quickly regrets, the fight, thankfully, because she didn't, most other movies will drag that on until like you have like somebody else points out to her, you are sisters, you really love each other, and then that's when she goes out to go look for her. But no, she comes, thankfully. Anna, you know immediately, regrets what she did, and she chooses herself, like, no, I effed up, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna, find Elsa and bring her home, because I know she can fix this, because I believe in my sister. And of course you get the whole let it go scene, but at the same time she practices, you know uh, her powers, which is something that her parents should have probably been more encouraging with, rather than sheltering her, kind of like an overcorrectness of trying to shield her from like the world, so nobody try to hurt her and she won't accidentally hurt anybody else. So you see her practicing her powers and makes these giant. She inadvertently creates Olaf, and then she makes this giant ice castle. And I gotta say, while I'm on the subject, the snow effects and the animation in general is phenomenal, but the snow effects is breathtaking. The ice sculptures, like, the way like the dress Elsa wears, and the way her hair flows, everything is just like, it is so detailed. A lot of people like point out, like, they more often than not, they wouldn't uh uh, they would honestly would have believed if the animators pointed out. I'm pretty sure they probably did. They individually sculpted each snowflake to make it, because it could have been too easy to have it all 2D kind of thing. But no, they put in the extra effort with the snow effect, because they probably would have had to, with the central theme of the film, named Frozen. The ice and the snow have to be spectacular, and the snow effects, it's like crisp snow. The only other movie I can think of that had like such wonderful snow effects is my review of, when I did a review of Benedict Cumberbatch's animated Grinch film that I did last Christmas. You can check out my review on that, because I pointed out in that the snow effects in that is so crisp and cool. It's like, it balances so well with the other colors in that film, and I feel the same way in this. Even though for the most part you spend your time with like blue, a lot of different shades of blues and whites, and at least for the most part, there's other colors, but that's the primary color swaps you see for the bulk of the film. Anna bumps into Kristoff, who she helps pay, because he had a tough time paying for carrots for his reindeer, and some other stuff for the ice gear to help him traverse through this perpetual winter. And he agrees to, give her a ride, to the direction of Elsa. And like I said, he points out how ridiculous it is for her to just be going into a marriage with a guy you really don't even know his last name. That's the issue. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm glad little girls are watching this, who were little girls at the time when this movie came out. They watching this, and they now get to understand, like, okay, you don't just fall in love right away to the guy you just met. You get to know this person, and thankfully they're growing up with that mindset. Like, when they're get into a relationship, however they sexually identify at this point in time, they will come to an understanding, thanks to Frozen, that I want to know this person, which other people would obviously teach them that kind of thing. But sometimes movies teach you some things that lays the foundation in your psyche that you carry on through the rest of your life. Anna and Elsa meet up, and through another musical number. Oh, before we get into that, they meet up with Olaf. Olaf isn't it as annoying as like, because I like Josh Gad enough as an actor, but I don't know. It just it's just kind of the same way where Will Ferrell isn't everybody's cup of tea. His comedic style and stuff like that. I also did like a spoiler review on Elf, which I did last year. I think I put it out there as well. But it's just like I like Will Ferrell as an actor. I find him funny for the most part, but I get why you know uh, certain moments isn't everybody's cup of tea. I feel that way with Josh Gad. I like him enough. He's not a terrible actor, but Olaf, he's not funny. He's clearly there. I mean, it's blatantly obvious. He's clearly there to help sell more toys. It's like, oh, need a cutesy kind of character. He's not as like annoying as like Jar Jar Binks or overdone as like the Minions, but he fit in the next spectrum to those annoying little cutesy thing just to add more to the toy merchandise. And he just wasn't for me. He has a little musical number about summer, even though he doesn't know how ice and summer don't mix well. I did like Kristoff's little joke where he's like, I'm going to tell him. I like that part. But it's just like, he wasn't useless. Unlike, most like Jar Jar and to a certain extent the Minions, it's like, I wouldn't say the Minions wasn't useless, but it's just they were overdone. You're tired of them so quickly. I don't know about Frozen 2 because I don't think I ever actually watched Frozen 2 as of yet, but I will see there where if he's toned down a bit, because I don't care. I think I like him more than the troll rock people, but it's like I'm not feeling him. But at least there's some kind of quiet dignity about him that I think I like him a little bit more than, definitely more than Jar Jar and the Minions, honestly, because he is an ear-piercingly annoying. Uh, but yeah, Anna approaches Elsa, tells her that the kingdom is under a perpetual state of winter, and she needs to come back to fix things. Elsa doesn't want to because she fears of being endangering everybody's lives. Then another outburst happened. She accidentally ice blasts Anna in the chest, which slowly starting to freeze her. And because of the rock people that Kristoff happened to know, because he was there when he was a little kid, seeing like Anna and Elsa's parents talk with them from afar. But then again, I'm surprised. I don't think it was ever addressed that didn't Chris, if like I guess maybe Kristoff didn't notice Anna in her father's arms, but he should have easily put two together because he was like what, like 7 or 8 or something like that. He was a little kid, but I'm pretty sure he will remember a nice girl and a redhead with a white streak in her hair, with these rock people. And he not once brought it up when he first encountered Anna and hearing her tale about her sister with ice powers and all this other stuff. It's like I recognize you, like I was there and blah blah blah. That was never addressed. I thought that was shocking. Because how could you, even with like a kid like 7 or 8 years old, I don't think no kid, unless you're even younger than that, where like maybe your memory gets a little fuzzy over the time, but you're old enough to remember something that very distinct. and talking with rock people. Anyway, uh, she expressed to Kristoff that a true love can fix this. So he rushes her back to the kingdom to meet up with Hans to hopefully like cure her, because like, oh, she believes they're truly in love, and if that's true, he can fix this. But he's already on the approach to uh uh take back Elsa. Despite her efforts fighting all them off, she gets kidnapped and taken back to the kingdom, which I guess the uh Hans and his soldiers managed to make it back before Anna and Kristoff, which they got a head start on them. I'm shocked that uh, he made it back so quickly. But anyway, it's revealed that of course Hans is the bad guy, and he plans on taking his kingdom after he kills Anna and Elsa. Well, he figures like he'll just allow the ice magic to do Anna in while he goes to kill off Elsa and just seize the throne. But Olaf rescues Anna, and while the winter is getting more harsh, Kristoff races to try to save Anna, and Chris and Hans trying to decapitate Elsa with his sword. Anna comes in with the last moments before the ice completely consumes her. She blocks and destroys the sword from killing her sister, which sends like a shockwave. And thanks to the sisterly love that these two have, cures Anna of the ice that was consuming her. And I like these turn events because, like, it's like love between like a man and woman or whatever, isn't like the only kind of legit love out in the universe. A sisterly love or a brotherly love or child and parent love could be just as strong too. And I like that turn, because that I thought that was so unique. I want to say completely unique. I'm pretty sure there's other Disney films that address these that kind of thing, but this done it so well that it's like I thought it was so I forgot the word, but kind of like very satisfying to see, because you don't often see it in these kind of films, because it's not even like with Kristoff, because obviously not right away, but towards like the tail end of things, Anna and Kristoff during this whole entire adventure starting to form like a bond, which started off as like a mutual respect and friendship that grew into something. And during early on in their adventures, they get attacked by wolves, and there's not the trope where the woman's countering the guy. He's a man. He fights off these beasts, wild beasts, while the woman cowers to get protected. No, they both, as partners, fight off these wolves, and because like he saves her, she saves him, and it's back and forth, back and forth. One doesn't usurps the other. I like this. It's another thing that you don't often see. He's not a doormat. She's not a doormat. They have mutual respect and care for each other that blossoms into a relationship. And Hans gets locked up. Whistleton won't be doing any business with Elsa's kingdom anymore, considering the circumstances, obviously. And Elsa lifts this, has more control over her powers now, lifts the winter, and now, everything's back to the natural season of summer. And the movie ends on this nice little note, and Elsa is queen again. I thoroughly enjoyed this film. uh, the cons I have about it was the rock people, the whole mismessaging with like just tell them, give her love, some sincere love. You can avoid the whole fear factor. The rock people, I didn't care for them. They were boring. They were annoying. Their singing sucked. Olaf, he's fine enough. Honestly, you can take him out, I wouldn't really miss him. But the third thing that kind of is a minor issue, tone down the singing. I don't mind singing in Disney animated films. I come to expect that. But it's like every 5 to 10 minutes, there's a new song. And it's like you're trying to purposely make a soundtrack rather than just have it organically. The Lion King, Aladdin, they didn't spend every 5 minutes having like a brand new song. It's like, I think it should relegate to like at least 3. One for the supporting characters, one for the main character, and one for the villain. 3 songs, iconic songs, dedicated to a film, I think is more than enough. If you want to have more songs for the soundtrack, do it, when like you're filming the soundtrack, not during the film in of itself. In my personal opinion, I really don't care if you're book with your movie. If it's not a musical, of course it's technically musical-esque, but you know what I mean. Unless you're actually like Broadway type of kind of thing or musical specific thing, like West Side Story or Grease or something like that. Unless it's tailor made right out the gate, the core of this kind of thing is supposed to be a musical type of movie. Unless it's that, you should tone down the songs. Okay, like it's a movie first, musical second, instead of something like West Side Story, where it's, they're working in tandem, or the musical kind of comes first. I just kind of like, because the Anna song early on with like can I build a snowman kind of thing, and then Let It Go, I think they are the standout songs to me personally that I thoroughly enjoy. Everything else couldn't care less. I'm sorry. But anyway, let me know what you guys thought of Frozen. I'm pretty sure, I think everybody's in consensus this is like a phenomenal film. But if there's things that you personally did not care for, let me know. Who was your favorite character? Oh, by the way, another thing. I don't think it was needed to have like a villain in this. I think you cut out the whole thing. I know it was necessary to showcase that the glaring issues of previous Disney princess kind of movies about, you shouldn't be like hooking up with marrying a person right out the gate when you first meet them kind of thing. I think that is old, played out, long played out. Even in my youth, that was super played out. But by and large, I think you'll find a way to do that without the whole need for an actual central villain, or at least surprise villain. The whole thing with Anna and Elsa mending their relationship, Elsa coming to her own and feeling liberated to be able to showcase her powers without fear or resentment, and all that other stuff, I think could easily have played well without. I think it's so unique to have like a movie that does not have a villain, and it can be played so well and so unique, and you can stand out so much because of it. At least that's how I think personally. But anyway, I will see you guys in a few minutes. I will be doing my spoiler review on The Violent Night, a movie I saw last Thursday, I'm sorry. I didn't get a chance to. I wanted to do a review last Saturday about it, but I couldn't do it because of the whole strike thing on YouTube. But I want to talk about that as well. So I will see you guys in a few minutes. Take care. See ya.